After reflecting on the last 5 decades, I've come to realize that I have a story, one of my music and my sound, and the marvelous collaborations with friends and colleagues. With a little help from these friends, I will share with you the journey that has shaped my musical life. I suppose every musician has a story, and my story is not new, but it is mine. Welcome to The Path Taken, hosted by Tom Farley and Alton Riddick.
From the By the Fence in the Sun record, Tom Farley featuring Pete Shonerd, You Ain't Never.
You ain't never gonna run. You ain't never gonna run. You ain't never gonna run. Just drop to one knee and wait for the gun. You ain't never gonna fly. You ain't never gonna fly. You ain't never gonna fly. Just push down the throttle and say bye-bye. You ain't never gonna love. You ain't never gonna love. You ain't never gonna love. Hey, just what kind of reason are you thinking of? If you never decide, you ain't never gonna run. Till you learn how to glide, you ain't never gonna run. Let it flow from inside. Nothing feels better than catching your stride. You ain't never gonna fly with your feet on the ground. You ain't never gonna fly if you don't come around. You ain't never gonna fly. What you'll see is profound. Life is made for cruising at the speed of sound. You ain't never gonna love if you shut down your heart. You ain't never gonna love if you never take part. You ain't never gonna love if you don't play it smart. Hey, look at me, honey, I'm state of the art.
Welcome, everybody. And tonight is a really, really special moment for me. I'm working with, in this session, a man I've known for over 3 decades. He has been, without a doubt, an integral part of the stage performance that I've had, and also my studio performances. So he's one of the finest percussionists I've ever known, and he's a good buddy. And his name is Peter Shonerd. And how's it going, Pete?
It's going great, Tom. It's good to see you and good to hear your voice.
Yeah, man, ditto. Usually we start off with just some general stuff, but we can take it anywhere we want to. So let me just put out the first question, and then we'll just work it out from there. You're an accomplished musician who has a long, long history, but at the end of the day, it had to start somewhere. So, where'd you get your start or begin your path or your journey as a musician?
Well, let's see. It was early 60s. I'm a Navy brat. My dad was stationed at Norfolk Naval Station. And I got to stay up late one night and watch the Ed Sullivan Show, and the Beatles were performing. And I saw the Beatles, and I saw what Ringo was doing. And that morning I woke up, I wanted to be a professional surfer. And I went to bed that night wanting to be a drummer. So blame it all on the Beatles.
Hey, man, well, yeah, that's a good thing to blame on.
Right.
That was a great show, too.
Absolutely, yeah. I was mesmerized. But, yeah, I was really just blown away by the Beatles and everything, and I was a fan ever since,
So it was drums instead of just full-fledged non-drum percussion at first, right?
At first, yes, yeah.
And so where did you get your first I guess you could say start? Was did you do it at home, or were you part of a group, or with I think you had some considerable amount of experience with your high school band.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, it started. My dad also had a pair of bongos he bought at Guantanamo, so we had those around the house. So I was beating on those when I was a little kid. And then I wanted to play drums, but in my elementary school, you couldn't start until 5th grade. So I decided in 4th grade, well, I want to learn how to read music. So I took the violin. And luckily for everybody else, I stopped the violin in 5th grade. I took the test to get into the drum section. And that's when it really started in 5th grade. But I performed in the elementary school in 5th and 6th grade, learned the basics and everything. And then got to Luther Jackson Intermediate School in Vienna, Virginia. And that's where my band director, Benjamin Pasquale, had a big influence on me. And there were other guys in the drum section who started taking private lessons that year. And I was seeing how much better they were getting. So I talked to my parents, and they said, well, sure, yeah, let's get you some private lessons. And so went to a music store that doesn't exist anymore, Capone's Music in Annandale, where a member of the Marine Corps band, Mark Sunkett, taught me the basics, and he taught me the taps, the upstrokes, downstrokes, full strokes, rudiments, how everything fit together, and everything just went pop. I got it. Yeah, he was a great lesson teacher, and by 8th grade, I was first chair in my concert band at Luther Jackson.
Get out of here, man.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But, just goes to show you that you put the right teachers in your path, and marvelous things can happen. Ain't no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
So how long did you play all the way through high school?
I did, yeah. And then I was supposed to go to W.T. Woodson High School in Fairfax, Virginia, but they made a boundary change in 8th grade, and I ended up at Falls Church High School, which had a fantastic musical program.
Really?
Jim Stegner was the band director. They had a marching band that competed nationally. We had an incredible symphonic band, good jazz band, and that's where everything really just popped for me.
Well, you are these the guys? Because I know that you all have gotten together for reunions and stuff a couple times at the beach. Are these the guys that you would reunion with?
Absolutely.
That you're talking about right now?
Absolutely. Yeah, we all went to band camp every August. We went to this hot, sweaty place. It's an old Civil War town outside Petersburg, Virginia, called Orkney Springs, and we stayed in these cottages and everything with no air conditioning. We marched all day. We played symphonic music at night. And yeah, but we started years later. I guess it's been about 9 or 10 years now. We had reunions there, and there's been as many as 200 or 300 people at these reunions. It's kind of whittled down over the years, but
that's a serious group there. That's a community, is what that
absolutely. is. Absolutely. I mean, lifelong friends in high school that to this day I still see and still perform with, and we had put together some great. Just kind of like your one take band. We just say, all right, let's all get together. You play that, and we just jam. And it's just amazing, some of the performances we've thrown together there.
So what was your main instrument when you were in that band?
Well, I was a first-year snare drummer, but I also played all the mallet instruments, marimba, xylophone, glockenspiel. I played timpani, and all the orchestral instruments, from bass drum to suspended cymbals to even a bongo part I did once on one song. So I would say one of my bigger instruments was mallet instruments.
That's that. Did you ever get to play? What are the big deep kettle?
Timpani. Yeah, timpani.
Timpani.
Yeah, timpani. Absolutely. Yeah. I didn't really start playing those a lot until my senior year. We had a guy, Larry Patterson, was really good at timpani, and another guy before him, Roy Seguin. So I was not quite my bailiwick then, but after they graduated and moved on, I started playing some more timpani part. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you tell me about your parents being supportive and your teachers being supportive and your band directors being supportive. It sounds to me, though, like that your fellow musicians were there seems to be some kind of mutual encouragement that you guys have, not only just because you play together and go to camp together, but it seems like that encouragement just kind of, you all feed on each other as far as that's. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yes. There was a kind of a competitive spirit there. You could challenge the first chair. If you were second chair or third chair, you could challenge musicians above you. And they give you a piece of music you learned, and you play that in front of the band director, and you either move up or stay where you were. So, there was some competition, but there was also, you're doing great. You're doing this, you're doing that. A lot of pats on the backs to each other. And, and we all wanted to be, it's just real. When we went to competitions, we all wanted to be number one.
Well, that's good. If you can do that and remain friends, what an incredibly good situation.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
You betcha. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: when did you start moving away from the band orchestral type instruments into the personalized? You had the congas already. When did you start building your arsenal, so to speak, or your I guess you could say the tools of your trade? When did you really start moving in that direction?
Well, actually, I started that. There was a jazz band we had, and I didn't join it until my senior year. So I borrowed a drum kit from a buddy of mine and learned how to play kit over the summer of my junior year. Fortunately, we were playing Benny Goodman and all that kind of big band music my senior year.
Good stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff. That my parents, I grew up hearing them play. But anyway, I was learning how to play kit with Rush and Emerson, Lake and Palmer and Deep Purple. And I'll never forget the one lesson I learned my senior year in jazz band was Shonerd, boom chick, no fills. So learned that. But I bought a kit after I graduated high school, and I played with a couple of garage bands. We had one press rap and Warthog with a bunch of high school buddies we played with. And then I went to college and I sold my drums to get out some credit card debt. But as the years went by, I wanted to play in a band again. Yeah, well, there was a million drummers out there, that I knew was competitive. So I just, I'd always played bongos and this and that and the orchestral instruments. And it was right before my senior year in college that I bought my first pair of congas. And that was just about a month before I met you. So anyway, I went to college with these congas, and a lot of my friends said, yeah, right, good luck getting in a band with them.
Well, little did they know. That there's more to percussion than just having a good drummer.
Right, yeah. But anyway, I showed up at Phillips Craft House about a week or so into my senior year, and Tom Farley and Cam Hit Band was playing there. And
parked beside the crab steam table, sweating our asses off, man.
Yep.
What an incredibly bad place to put a band. But I remember those days.
Yeah. Yeah, but maybe unbeknownst to you, Steve Eilenberg was playing there, and you took a break, and I talked to Steve and said, hey, I'm a conga player. You mind if I sit in a couple of songs? And he said, yeah, sure, but I tell you what, just work with me. I'll call you up, and I'll just tell him you're an old buddy of mine. So anyway, Steve pointed down at me and said, hey, this friend of mine wants to play. We'll bring him up. And I think the first song we played was Money, Money. I do remember that.
Get out.
Money, Money. Yeah, and I just started playing, and I finished out the set. And then after we got done, that was the last set you played. I was sitting down having a beer, and Steve goes, hey, Tom wants to come over. Tom wants to talk to you. And he said, hey, we're playing at Smackwater Jackson in a couple of weeks. Can you sit in and join us? I said, I'd be thrilled. So that's pretty much where it all started right there that day at Phillips.
For some reason, I don't know. I always thought that you had a few licks, before you got up with us. It was like hand in glove, man. It just fit. Immediately. That's part of the beautiful thing about it. It really did fit nicely. I can't believe we were like your breakout band. That is so fucking cool.
Yeah, really, believe it or not, man. I didn't know squat about congas back then. I was really just honing my craft and learning. You guys were great mentors.
How I hate Riddick, 'cause my motor goes so slow. Damn this traffic jam, time to get home, my supper feet go home. Damn this traffic. fossil fuel. Driving down that road, driving down that road. Dang, this traffic jam, how I hate to be late, cause my motor goes so slow. Damn, this traffic jam, time to get home, myself a big go. Damn, this traffic jam. Damn, this traffic jam, how I hate to be late, cause my motor goes so slow. Damn, this traffic jam, time to get home, myself a big go. Damn, this traffic jam. Damn, this traffic jam, how I hate to be late, cause my motor goes so slow. Damn, this traffic jam, time to get home, myself a big go. Damn, this traffic jam, come on, man. Damn, this traffic jam, how I hate to be late, cause my motor goes so slow.
Thank you. We're going to take a short break. We're right with you.
Well, I mean, but the neat thing about that band, there were so many different. First of all, it had an incredible amount of energy, a lot more energy than most bands have. And starting from an acoustic and building up and adding pieces and stuff like that, it was really. It was nice the way that it evolved, but also the genres that we played. There was a wide variety of stuff. We could play acoustic, we could play acoustic rock, we could play heavy duty rock and roll. I mean, and there wasn't like a particular vein where we played, 10 songs from the same band. There was a lot of variety, and man, you fit that particular scenario perfectly because you're all about, getting in some new sounds and stuff like that. You've always been that way.
Yeah, and that's, after I got the congas, I got a pair of bongos. And I had the wind chimes. I think I got a vibra slap when I was with you guys, and a couple of little toys. And so yeah, it filled out everything, gave my hands more stuff to do and more variety.
Well, let me ask you, man. I know that you need to fill me in on a little bit of the band situation. I know you had Moondogs. I know you had One Hot Mess. I know you played with Tom, and also Wall and Fry. So if you could, give us a little dance about, how those relationships actually started and maybe how you advanced with the variety of percussion instruments and stuff like that you had along the way.
Sure. Yeah. Well, after I left Norfolk, unfortunately, I got a job up here and had to leave the Tidewater area, which I dearly loved and miss to this day. It was great living down there. But anyway, it took about a year or so before I met the Moondogs. I met them from a girlfriend of mine was working with this couple that were getting married, and they wanted a kind of a Deadhead jam band. They were Deadheads. And so I asked my buddy Henry, and Henry said, "Oh, you ought to call up Jan Nichols. He'll probably be able to help." So the Moondogs were playing at the wedding, and Henry, my roommate, who was also a virtuoso guitarist, great musician, said, "You ought to bring your drums. They'll probably let you sit in." So I sat in. We got done with the wedding gig, and they said, "What are you doing tonight?" "We're playing at Napoleon's out in Warrington." So my girlfriend Patty goes, "Let's go, let's do it." So I went, and that's how that took off. I was a member of that band from there then on. And let's see, we played a number of the areas, restaurants, bars, and stuff around Northern Virginia area. And the Wall and Fry happened. Henry told me about this Corey party this band was throwing, Wall and Stuart Fry's Corey party. He said, "Bring your drums. They'll probably let you sit in." So I took my drums to that. Didn't know a soul there. Asked around where's Stuart Fry, and there he is. I talked to him. "Hey, I'm a friend of Henry's. I'm Pete Shonerd. I play percussion. You mind if I sit in today?" He goes, "What do you play?" I said, "I play percussion." He goes, "Set up right over there." So this is like kind of like a Woodstock kind of thing. Everybody camped out of this beautiful quarry in Strasburg, Virginia, and it's like 600 to 800 people there. Music started at 2, and it went till like 1 or 2 in the morning. I started out that first day at the quarry with the first band, asked when I could sit in, and I played with every band that day until 2 in the morning.
Get out.
Every single one. If I didn't ask, they were coming up to me, "Hey, will you sit in with our band?" "Hey," like, "You betcha, you betcha." So
you're talking sore fingers at the
you're
end of the day,
talking
or
sore
what?
everything at the end of the day.
Swollen hands.
Well, luckily, I was young back then. I recovered pretty quickly. But then we played a couple other gigs with the Moondogs and at the Corey parties and Doug Wall cameras. You can sit in with Wall and Fry anytime you want. And there came a time when I was getting an itchy finger, wanted to move on from the Moondogs, so I sat in with Wall and Fry and I went with them. And we are having our last gig together, our Swan Song gig this September. I've been with them 30 some years. They've been together like 30 something years. They were a duo act when I joined them. We were a trio, and then Eric Stanley joined us with lead guitar and harmonies. He's been with us for about a decade, so it was a really good run with those guys, and just fantastic gentlemen, musicians, and can't thank them enough. But then let's see, with Stuart Fry, he's a fantastic keyboardist. He played with another band called Too Many Daves and the Brass Solution. And this was like a big Blues Brothers band. With me, there was 13 pieces. They had a great horn section, female and lead vocalist, played a lot of Motown, and it was just a blast sitting in with them. It's just a big fat sound, but with that many people, you really had to find a big stage.
What about when you played a duo with Tom? How did that work out? I know you could fit in smaller rooms and stuff like that, but it's also a completely different approach.
Yeah, well, Tom was my neighbor. We were neighbors for 8 or 9 years before he said, "Hey, I'm a guitarist, you're a drummer. Let's get together." So we finally got together in my man cave one day, and had fun that night. And so let's do it again. A couple of weeks later, we got again. A week after that, and I've made a list of all the songs we were doing. We got Tom. We pretty much got a couple of sets of music here. And I told my wife, she'd heard us play, she says, you're not going out on the road with us, are you? So, no, that'll never happen. I was not lying at the time, but as things progressed, I go, well, this is pretty fun. He's fun to play with, great guy. So, we went from there. We played a lot of vineyards and breweries around Manassas. And when I could sit in, he played a solo act. But so it was just one of those things that kind of happened. And I was just so fortunate to have a neighbor there who was a great musician. So that was cool.
So what is the next big, I guess you could say, transition into One Hot Mess?
That would be the One Hot Mess. Yeah. Wall and Fry started kind of not booking as many gigs, and everybody had their own act. Stuart played with, 3 or 4 different bands around the area. Doug and Eric were starting to do their own little duo act called Liberty Street. And Tom was kind of doing a solo thing. And I'm like, well, there's not a lot for me to do these days. And I don't know what's going to happen with Wall and Fry. So I had seen this great band, One Hot Mess, who opened up this a restaurant called Malone's in Manassas, Virginia, where I live. And Tom and I played down in the dining room. We played out on the porch, and the building is a big old church building that was actually featured in a Glenn Ford movie back in the 50s. But anyhow, they finally got the upstairs music venue done. And I'm thinking, well, Tom and I play here. We'll be a shoo-in to get this gig there. Well, I saw One Hot Mess play. They were a trio at the time. And I was just blown away. I go, wow, their harmonies are fantastic. The musicianship. So I, just went up there one night and said, hey, I'm Pete. I'm a percussionist. And I was wondering if you guys might be interested in letting me sit in some night. Well, it just so happened that night they had a percussionist sitting in with them. Some professional guy they got. And it's like, oh, well, I guess this is not going to happen. But they said, well, I tell you what, why don't you come over and rehearse? Give me his number. We'll give you a call. So about a week later, they called me. We're rehearsing this night and went over and rehearsed with them. And I said, well, it feels pretty good. What are you doing this weekend? We're playing at a country club. You want to sit in? You betcha. I'm there. And that's how that went. So, we were a trio act for a number of years. And then we started playing bigger venues with bigger stages. And I kind of needed to fill out the sound for these bigger stages. So we hired Corey Holland to come up and play drums. And he fit in great. Him and I get along like famous old friends. And we had a couple other musicians that sat in, kind of came and went. We had a piano player. We had a saxophone player sit in. And so we were a 5-piece band, basically, for a while there. And then all of a sudden, one of Ken's old high school buddies, or I think you probably know him from elementary school, they used to be in a bowling league together. Myron Prosser was watching us play one night. And he's a very experienced fiddle, violin player. And Ken invited him up to come up and play. And he played one night with us. And he's been a member of the band ever since, too. And he really has a lot. So it's been a fun progression.
So by the time you got to One Hot Mess, did you have all the gear that you wanted in terms of, all the bells and whistles that you wanted to bring in as far as the percussion was concerned, or do you still feel like you need to add on to that?
I pretty much do, yeah. I've got my standard rig I've been playing with for a while. One of the bigger things I've added over the years is when first time I saw a cajon. I saw a percussionist playing with Jimmy Buffett's lead guitarist Peter Merritt at this kind of Jimmy Buffett festival they have in Manassas. And I saw him sitting on this box of wood. I go, what is that? And I talked to him afterwards. Within about 2 weeks, I bought my first cajon. And I think I'm on my third cajon now. I've heard different instruments. And I've sold the other ones I have with friends and kept those. So, but yeah, and that's been a lot of fun to play. And I also got a djembe about a year or so after that. And that's been fun to play too. But yeah, I've still got the chimes, the bongos, the congas.
Well, the cajon certainly came in handy when we did our concert at the library that time. Yeah, that's for damn sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It sounded wonderful, man.
Yeah. The one thing I learned to do with Tom Farley Cam Head Band, being a kit player, I was coming and, I'm just playing with two hands. And, well, I've got these feet. I don't think I need to stand on both feet. So I had an old wooden tambourine. And I put that on the floor, and I just started kicking it with my right foot like it was a kick drum, just keeping 2 and 4 beats, or 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've been doing it ever since. I don't know any other percussionists. They make these things now with these little elastic bands that have tambourines on them.
This is a perfect segue. I mean, do you feel sort of that's a sample of you developing your own style? But do you feel like that you have over the years developed a style as a percussionist, or do you just like the idea of just blending in and becoming part of the atmosphere?
It's hard to define my style. If anything, I'd say it's kind of like I'm a kit playing conga guy. I think a lot about, the bass drum and the toms and fills and things like that and how the cymbals work and everything. But that goes with the orchestral things I learned in high school also. What's going to sound good here? What's going to sound good there? Do I want to do this here or do that there? Oh, don't ever do that again. Wow, I should have done that.
Well, the one thing that always, which I loved watching you play, the one thing that I really loved was the fact that you always kept a pair of drumsticks in your hip pocket.
Yep, still do.
and you were able. I mean, I don't know how the hell you did it, but you were able to bring them bad boys out and bang on a cymbal or hit whatever you wanted to hit, or run them through chimes or whatever the case might be, and put them back in your pocket without missing a lick. I said, I want to know exactly. Does he have a little spacer in his pocket to keep it open enough to where he can throw it back in? I mean, those kinds of things that actually allowed you to provide more sound, but still, not lose the basic rhythm. I've never seen anybody actually percussion-wise around here that actually had that much versatility or added that to the equation. I mean, I thought that was really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it just all started. I think I had a music stand I used to put my drumsticks on. And it took too long to reach over to grab them and then, get the hold on them. When they're just in your back pocket, you just whip it out and boom, stick it right back in there. So as a result over the years, when I'm looking for shorts, I have to buy just the right pants or, Levi's work perfect, but shorts that have like little flaps on top of the back pockets, those don't work.
Cut off them flaps.
Yeah,
man.
But there's been a lot of times too over the years. If I can't make it to the back pocket, I'll just stick them in my teeth, in between my teeth, and play some more, and pull it out and play some more, and back in the teeth. So don't tell my dentist.
We have, there are a couple of videos that we have out there that when we were playing with Cam. One of my favorites, of course, is Traffic Jam at Smackwater Jacks. But one of the nicest parts about that is that it actually has a chance to actually focus on different members of the band, and the person who was behind the camera spent some time with you, focused in on you, and was able to pick up on not only your moves but also the stick pulling out of your pocket thing and all the things that were Pete at the time. We're very much, visible. Plus, we were all a hell of a lot younger then.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, that to me was part of what made it special. I mean, it's almost like everybody in the band that we had, no matter who was the bass player or whatever, had a distinctive style. But it all meshed together. I don't know whether it was just the energy or the genre or the songs that we chose. There was a fit, and that's what I loved about playing with you, man. It always fit.
Thanks.
Which was great. It always has been.
Yeah, and luckily, when I joined you guys, I grew up. A lot of the music we played, the cover stuff we did, my brothers were bringing home from college.
Really?
Like the Manassas album, Stephen Stills. I like you guys were playing stuff. Yeah. Wow, I haven't heard this in years. I love this song. So it's like, oh yeah, let's attack this one.
Well, I love the picture that you sent me from the railroad station.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, we duplicated that.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that
yeah,
Manassas
right,
picture,
yeah.
man. I love that.
Super.
All right. So if you had like, I know that I have strong influences as far as like, rhythm and finger picking and singing and stuff like that. You had to have somebody down the pike that you really wanted to emulate, or at least picked up, sponged a few licks off of. Who are those guys?
Well, I would have to say Mickey Hart and Bill Kreutzmann were a huge influence when I was listening to a lot of Grateful Dead music in the 80s and early 90s, seeing them. But there's a band in Northern Virginia called Eddie from Ohio. And there's this guy, Eddie Hartness, who played percussion for them. And the first time I saw them was in Springfield. It was after I moved back up here. I was living in Miami at the time. And I came up, saw them play at this gig, and I see this band, they're backing up Spider Goodrich, Scoggin, and Lilly, who you probably remember. That's who I was going to see.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Mike Lilly moved back down here after getting off the road and is playing, pretty steadily here.
Yeah, but anyhow, I see this conga setup, and it's like my rig. It's like somebody who stole my drums and put them on the stage here. I go, well, this ought to be fun. And Eddie got out there, and he just blew me away. I go, wow, he's really good. So I started to listen to a lot of EFO. And he was getting the sound out of his drums that I really wanted. I was close, but no cigar. And he's got some really fast chops, which I haven't been able to touch to this day. But I just started listening to a lot of him stuff, and I think he influenced me a ton. Really did.
It's awesome to find somebody that really, trips your trigger. There's no doubt about it.
And the other good news is they have these fan cruises where they go and you go out on like a cruise ship, and about 100 fans or so. We go out there and they play a few shows. So I got to meet the band and everybody, and I actually got to sit in with them just doing an unplugged acoustic thing. Got to jam with them. Then they pulled my name out of a hat one night for a competition of a male and female lead to come up and sing one of their songs. Well, I tried to tell them, listen, nobody's ever hired me to sing, but I'd love to play Eddie's drums. And the lead vocalist, Julia, says, "No, Pete, you have to sing." so I gave it my best, but yeah, I forgot the words, of course. And yeah,
fish out of water, man, or what?
Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad I did it, but yeah, I guarantee you that Nike could ask me to go and get on that stage and sing with them again.
Well, I also have followed you and your career, and there have been some videos that you've had with some pretty massive bands and stage, presentations and stuff like that. Have you got any like performances or venues, that just really, made a strong impression on you, or you had an exceptionally good time or anything like that? I mean, I know I have mine, but I want to know about yours.
Yeah, well, I think starting off Tom Farley Camhead, I loved playing at Phillips, even though it was really hot in the summertime. It was a great place. They fed you free food. You had a food allowance. And
yeah, you did.
Yeah, so that was always good. But yeah, we always had a big, huge crowd there. It was a lot of fun. Loved playing with Smackwater Jacks and Abbey Road. And she's, the Jewish Mother was always fun. Let's see, up here, there's I sat in with a band, Mudlark. At the Howard Theater, there was a Battle of the Bands, and I knew Jerry from the bass player for the band from jamming with him at my buddy Henry Kurosaka's parties. And so they were playing on Facebook, and, "Hey, can I sit in with you guys?" "Yeah, sure, Pete, bring your stuff." So I sat in with them. And I think, I think every musician should have the opportunity to be able to sit up on a stage with a curtain in front of you. And at the Howard, they've got this big, huge, I guess it's, kind of burgundy velvet curtain. So you're setting up your stuff, and when they open up that curtain and you see the crowd in front of you, it's just like, wham, wow, let's kill this show. And that was just very cool. And we had a green room downstairs to hang out in before the performance and everything. But another place is with Wallen Fry, we did a private party. I guess it was a wedding gig at the Barns of Wolf Trap, which is right next to Farley Center Wolf Trap. And that was a great stage to play on. A lot of fun.
Is that actually part of the Wolf Trap complex?
It is, yeah. They mainly use in the winter time for smaller acts, smaller national acts rather than the big, huge place at the Wolf Trap.
Yeah, I've only been there once, but it was very appealing. There was some kind of folk, culturally or Native American folk festival is what it was, and it must have had at least 5 or 6 stages, including the big one, with amphitheater kind of thing. And it seemed like a really, really fun place to be.
Yeah, and when we were in high school, they used to have graduation ceremonies at Wolf Trap, so I got to play in the orchestra pit of Wolf Trap. The old one, it actually burned down. The one I played at burned down. They rebuilt it pretty much the same way it was. But yeah, that was a neat place to play in high school.
So let me ask you, man. I know you perform a lot. You've been doing it for decades. Is it still as important to you now as it was, back in the day?
It is. It's a big part of who I am. I'm a drummer. It's what I do. And I met my wife playing the drums the old-fashioned way at a bar at a gig. So it's given me a lot. It's given me, lifelong friends, great experiences. I can't get it out of my blood.
So did COVID put a serious bump in the road, or were you able to eke out a gig or two here and there, or did the bands pretty much just play it safe and not go out in the crowds, or what?
It did put a big crimp in the system. We got a few rehearsals in with One Hot Mess while COVID was in its infancy, and we ended up playing our first gig. I guess it was late April, early May in 2020, and we made sure every gig we did was outside.
Yeah,
we weren't playing outside. So we started out at the Harbor Grill in Woodbridge, and there's a great brewery outside of Manassas called Brewery at Broad Run. Farm Brewery at Broad Run, and they've got a big stage there, which is actually one of those clamshell stages.
Yeah.
They can open up and close. Well, this particular one used to live in Portsmouth, Virginia. So I was on the back of it, so, hey, I'm playing in my old hometown again. But they've expanded the place, and that was a great place to play. And basically, if I wasn't on the stage, I was just backstage, just hanging out there. I'd maybe go say hi to a few friends, but I didn't want to mingle. My wife's immune system is not the best, so I was trying to stay as safe as possible. But we ended up playing about 6 or 7 times during 2020.
So do you feel like I know that you told me that One Hot Mess just got through doing a video.
We did.
Is that a video of one specific song, an original or a compilation of songs, or just exactly what were you guys up to with that? Is it a PR instrument or just something you want to throw on Facebook and YouTube?
Well, I'm not sure how it's going to actually end up after they edit it, but when I first joined One Hot Mess, Ken, the leader of the band, decided hey, we're not getting any younger, and I love what we're doing. Let's do a little PR video. And so when it was just 4-piece band, we played a Club Eclipse before they opened up early one January morning. We got there. It was about 5 degrees outside. We got in, and we just did little snippets about our best songs, just a promo thing. But anyhow, that turned out great. It was fantastic. We had great reviews on it. And Ken decided, well, we've got 2 more guys in the band. Let's do a live performance, because everybody tells us what, the energy we throw out there on the stage, sounds great. So they taped the whole entire performance, all 3 sets.
So right now it's in post-production, just kind of picking and choosing?
Yep, it's post-production. I guess they're editing in. Ken's going to go down there and we'll talk to him, and we'll see what happens with it. But I'm sure there'll probably be one recording of it. It'll be the whole show, and they'll just winnow out parts and some of the best songs are parts, for whatever promotional or whatever they want to do with it.
How many cameras did you guys have?
Let's see. They had 2 cameras on rails in front of the stage. They had another guy with a shoulder cam. They had a couple of Go cams set up facing the crowd. And
oh man, that's great.
So it was a huge production, yeah. And for the first time in my life, I had to get makeup on my face. Yeah, Ken's a great guy, as generous as can be. And but anyhow, I hired a makeup artist, and we all had our faces done before we got started.
So you enjoyed that experience?
I really did. Yeah. And it's gigs are always fun. They're always a little scary. I still get a little nervous, but right when I get on a stage, and but there's one thing about recording. It's you got to be on top of your game. You got to get it right. And so the first couple of songs, you're just nervous as could be. At least I
understand.
But after you get a couple underneath your belt, boom, all right, let's go. And I just had a blast that night. Yeah. So
do you guys do any original material?
We do not. No. But we've talked about it over the years, but we do not do any originals. No, it's all covers.
Yeah, I love to hear. You guys get into a studio and have an engineer, crank you guys up and see what can come out of that. I think that would be wonderful, because I have the recordings that you sent me.
Okay,
of
great.
The band, which I really, really enjoy. I still listen to them from time to time. I got them on my iTunes account, and I'll crank them up from time to time just to hear you play, and also just to get a sense of where you are as far as what you're doing with your music and everything.
Yeah, but the amazing time when One Hot Mess first joined, it was Barry Behan's daughter married Ken Ryder's son, And they asked him to play a song at the wedding, and they both sounded good. And he said, "Hey, man, that's pretty good." And so Berkeley Royster, they called him and said, "Hey, we're thinking about just doing a little, kind of unplugged acoustic band. You want to join?" Berkeley came in, and that's how they started.
Really?
And their harmonies, they just, oh, wow, it's just magical. It just blows me away. Yeah. They work hard. We do a lot of rehearsals. With Wall and Fry, we've never had a single rehearsal.
Really?
Not a single one over the years.
Did they have this get together with their vocals and all the rest of that kind of stuff, just hanging out with each other and just kind of came into it naturally, or what?
Yeah. Well, Wall and Fry was just a duo act, and they just came up with a set list, so we didn't learn a whole lot of new songs, but we'd have people who, guest performers who would come on stage and, "What do you want to play?" "Okay." And we just, boom, just wing it and go. So that's how we did new songs on a stage, by inviting people to come up and sit in with us.
So do you, as far as One Hot Mess is concerned, do you all, I know that you all play breweries and different clubs. Is there a venue that almost like that you could call home? I know that we had a couple of venues along the way that we played consistently. It was almost like, not that you were the house band, but that your crowd loved to actually hang out with you there. Are there venues like that now that, for you and the band to, I guess you could say, really look forward to more than others?
Well, my first answer is basically wherever we set up our stuff. Yeah, that's our favorite one. But yeah, the Brewery Abroad one where we just recorded the video is great. We play Stone Tower Vineyard outside of Leesburg, which is a great place to play, especially outside. We play another one, Sinistral Brewery in Manassas. That's another fun place. And in Manassas now, they kind of shut down the streets in the summertime for First Fridays. So we can set up out in the street, and there's people just walking around. You can carry your beers from bar to bar.
Oh man, they don't do any street stuff like that around here, which I consider to be that would be a great thing for them to open up to. I mean, there's art districts and stuff like that. I don't see any reason why they can't shut a street down and everybody have themselves a nice party, especially outdoors. I mean, which is now a real key ingredient in terms of people wanting to get together. People are still a little antsy about getting together in an indoor venue, and outdoors would be absolutely perfect. But no one's really taken a really strong, stance on we're going to block this street off and have ourselves a party. So,
yeah, they couldn't do it in 2020, but it's going loud and strong now in 2021. So it feels like Nolan's down there on the first Friday of every month.
Excellent.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
So we're almost to the, I guess you could say the more personal Tom and Pete stuff. I remember having you over and recording in the studio at the Cosmopolitan, which was, we had to get an awful lot done because you were only going to be there for a short while. But what we were able to do, I guess you could say, the contributions that you made to the By the Fence in the Sun album were exceptional. It's not that often that I guess you could say you get a recording with just an acoustic guitarist and a percussionist, but we pulled that off with I'll Remember.
Mom remembered the smallest things, all the verses to songs we'd sing, till the time came when everything faded away. Now I think as her favorite son, is this a battle that can be won? Well, I recall doing it after it's done. Well, I remember the way we danced. Well, I remember our first romance. Well, I remember the dresses you wear, the color of your hair. Well, I remember the life we made. Well, I remember the price we paid. Well, I remember that look in your eye. Well, I remember my reply. Awkward moments I've never had, Names and faces that drive me mad, just a bit more scary than before. I'll keep trying to get it right, try and get me some sleep at night, and hold on till I can't hold on anymore. But I'll remember the way we danced, I'll remember our first romance, I'll remember the dresses you wear, and the color of your hair. I'll remember the life we made, all the beauty, the price we paid. I'll remember that look in your eye, and I'll remember my reply. I'll remember that look in your eye, and I'll remember.
You kicked in on major stuff with "You Ain't Never" and "Here I Go Again." I mean, there's stuff there on that album that really, I think, shows that we get along pretty good when we actually play together, whether it's live or in the studio. And that was our first studio chance to actually work in the studio together, which I really enjoyed.
Same here. Yeah, it was great.
So what we're going to do is during the course of this particular episode, we're going to be playing some of those songs. And I guess maybe what I'm kind of searching for is, out of all, playing with Cam, playing with Jerry in the Tom Farley band, and also on stage with the High Energy Acoustics band. What are the songs that you really, I guess you could say, enjoy playing the most? I mean, that you had a major part and a major place in the band on all the songs, but is there something that you really, really, when you heard that one being called up, say, yeah, I'm ready for this shit?
What was it? Cam's original song, the acoustic, was that "Let It Bleed"? When the bleeding stops. When the bleeding
stops. Absolutely.
Love that. Loved All Along the Watchtower. Loved the Manassas stuff. Loved Slow Drivers in the Left-Hand Lane.
That's always fun.
Yeah, that was always cool. Yeah, I had a little solo on that. And it's just escaping my mind. The last one, there was, we usually played it at the end of the night. You and Tanya would get off the station. It was just the boys in the band playing.
Let me see.
Sorry, my old brain's not functioning.
Well, usually that would be reserved for when the bleeding stops, or sometimes you're down, you got to get up, or one of the, I guess you could say, Tom and Cam originals, so to speak. The ones that
oh well.
A lot of energy in that bad boy.
Yeah, I've got some recording. I guess we were Smackwater Jacks, and I've heard it probably 100 times over the years. And Cam solo on that one part where he just takes off, it just blows me away. And I've had friends that come up and seen Cam play over the years from Northern Virginia, whatnot, and they just are amazed at his style and how fast his hands move.
Oh yeah, I posted our duo that we did in my living room when we were living on South Oliver Drive just the other day of Gasology, the Tony Rice tune.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And Cam said that he had musicians come up to him on the last gig and said that they actually heard that and, wanted to know whether or not he listened to a lot of Django and stuff like that, because he was pretty blazing fast on his acoustic guitar back in that day.
And I know for a fact, Cam listened to Django because he turned me on to Django Reinhardt and Stefan Grappelli.
Really?
I've been listening to that stuff ever since when I lived. I went to school in Paris in 1991, at American University, for a graduate degree, and I heard Django all over the place, in jazz clubs, and just loved it.
It's hard. It's hard to actually become a talent that's so unique and so influential that he's just one in a million. There's no doubt about it. And Cam's the only person that I ever played with that actually, I guess you could say, had the energy to be able to translate that into his acoustic.
Right.
People I've known people that have been pretty adept on their electric guitar, but acoustic guitar is a whole different ball game. And he was really able to take that to a different place. He was.
I believe you.
Well, listen, buddy, is there anything else you'd like to, as a parting shot, would like to say to the folks out there that are listening to The Path Taken?
Oh, no parting shots, but yeah, it's been a great trip, musically speaking. I'm glad I saw the Beatles way back when. Definitely a life changer. And I guess the one regret I have is I saw a lot of your students come up into our performances back then, and they all just loved you. And I guess my one regret is that, man, I wish I had Tom Farley as a teacher in high school. He must have been a great teacher.
Well, they're really supportive. As a matter of fact, just a little aside, not to take away from your space here, but on the song Delta Lady, one of the neat things I was able to do, I got 7 students. We had a little, I guess you could say, contest, so to speak, and out of those, the top 7 winners went into the studio to do the hand clapping for Ballad of the Delta Lady.
All right.
And I was. They knew about, the playing and stuff like that, but it really, after that, things were really quite different as far as the way that my students looked at me in terms of the music, and it's translated into wonderful experiences and connections, which I still have, which it's nice of you to bring that up because, that's a real big part of my life that a lot of people don't know anything at all about, Pete. I don't even think Tanya's ever seen me teach.
Yeah.
But I have those relationships, and I also have the relationships with my colleagues as well. They've been incredibly supportive over the years. So, yeah, it's a real special part of my life. No doubt about it, man.
Yeah, well, you were a wonderful teacher to me and mentor. And, there was when I first started, like I said, I didn't know much. And you suggested, that cymbal there, you ought to use your hands instead of hitting the cymbal so much. And then you introduced me to some reggae bands. So listen to this and see if it helps. So, yeah, you were always very helpful.
Well, it's always been good, Pete, and it will continue to be. I miss you, man.
Miss you too.
I wish you were here so we could have a little bit more, face-to-face and acoustic and kunga thing going on. But that'll happen. I mean, at the end of the day, there's I'm not going to stop recording anytime soon. I've stopped performing pretty much. But at the end of the day, the studio sessions are going to continue on. I really want you to be a part of them, brother.
Excellent. I'd be happy to join you.
Well, give Lisa a big hug for me, and
Will do.
I enjoyed the hell out of this. It's really just good to see you on the screen here. You all can't see Pete, but I can. And for taking the time and being a part of this, it means an awful lot for you. You're a big part of my life. We have a long and really incredibly versatile musical history together, different bands and different venues and different situations. I can't even imagine what it would be like in those past years without you being there. But I really do look forward to our future collaborations, and I hope that that playing up there just keeps getting better and better for you.
Yep, you betcha. And it's been great, and I can't wait to see you again. I will make it down to Tidewater sometime, so keep me in the loop.
I will, my brother. You have a good, give Lisa a hug and just have a good one.
Best to Tanya and Barry. Give them my love, and peace, brother.
Back at you, brother.
And taking us home, here's Tom and Pete with Here I Go Again.
In the middle of the river, I can see both sides. In the middle of the river, I can roll with the tide. In the middle of the river, I can see things clear. In the middle of the river, I can feel you are near. Oh, I try to explain. Oh, my walk in the rain. Getting by with the loss and the gain. Gonna fly right out of my pain. Here I go again. can watch the birds fly. On the side of a mountain, I can see the clouds cry. On the side of the mountain, the valley lies low. On the side of a mountain, you can see where to go. Oh, I try to explain. Oh, my walk in the rain. Getting by with the loss and the gain. Gonna fly right out of my pain. Here I go again.
This episode was produced by Tom Farley and Alton Riddick, edited and mixed by Alton Riddick for Edit Your Truth. On behalf of Tom, this is Alton signing off until we meet again on The Path Taken.